What's cracking, everyone? Venomous back with 2 versus 2, a game type that is extraordinarily fun but does not get enough representation. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have Savagewood playing with his ally, Elusive Smoke. Now, if you don't know Elusive Smoke, he has been featured on my channel multiple times, aka my cousin Spencer, who's actually on the last video I uploaded, a video about the NFL, which is basically us previewing the week's matchups and how we think the players are going to do in my TWIF series, which stands for This Week in Fantasy. Also, make sure you check out my live stream, link in the description. The Reaper is out here for the red Terrans Supdo, who is allied along with Mingus. Supdo is going to try to harass Savagewood here, and this is the way the Reaper times out. The Reaper should get to the Zerg base before the Queen is out, just before the Queen is out. Savagewood does have Lings. With the grenade going off, Supdo gets enough separation to escape. Cybercore just now finishes for Elusive Smoke, and he's trying to get the Reaper with probes, and that doesn't really work. As soon as the Cybercore finishes, you have to rush out that mothership and a Stalker. The issue is Elusive Smoke went for a really quick expo, so a lot of times that can delay your defensive capabilities just long enough to where the Reaper really becomes a pain in the ass. As Elusive Smoke has lost a little bit here, he'll throw up an overcharge, doesn't get a kill, but with Ling speed done for his ally, this is what's so great about 2v2 is something annoying like this happens, it doesn't just snowball out of control all the time. As we see Savagewood, he's going to flank in here from the north, he's going to come crashing down southbound and flank the Reapers. The Reapers are cleaned up, 2 more are out for Supdo. Both red Terrans have taken an expansion. Savagewood knows that Reapers are very, very good at jumping up and down cliffs, throwing grenades out, and making you take free damage, so he runs up a little, scares them away, and then runs back. You never want to be in a position where you're constantly walking over grenades when you're trying to fight against Reapers. Savagewood is starting to spread his creep out here. Creep spread can be a little bit tricky in team games because the creep can prevent your opponent from building buildings. Cloak for Banshees is up for Supdo, and when I say it's up, I mean it's on the way, about 80% of the way done. Savagewood's going to test the wall in here, it's steady. Both Terran players have stable wall in, they don't have a lot behind the wall in. As Supdo just now gets his first tank, so a wall in with a couple Marines behind it is pretty good for holding off Lings, but a wall in with a tank just becomes absolutely crushing. Very, very powerful, strong defense mechanism in the early game for Terran. Mingus has gone as far as to add a bunker, and Elusive Smoke's expansion has finished. He needs to start up his second upgrade on his forge, as he did get a quick enough Twilight to do that. Phoenix is out here for Supdo, as that was not scouted.
Our allies are being attacked.
And Elusive Smoke is trying to pressure here. Does he have Blink? No, he has not even started it. And Mingus gets a tank out here. As Savagewood, if we go to the units lost, he's started to lose quite a few workers. If we pull up the workers tab, all the players are about even. They're within 2 workers of each other. A queen goes down here, as you always have to have 2 queens to fight a Banshee. Supdo, he's trying to kill the Spire. Savagewood stutter stepping forward, he has 2 overseers, he will clean it out. And he pulled some workers, so not all is lost for our blue Zerg. Savagewood also has this third about to complete. These 2 Reapers, of course, are still up at this tower gaining map control. Mingus has a small little contingency of forces over here. You always want to keep an eye out on this backdoor rocks. This tower, of course, is a great place to do it. And Mingus has an expansion, as does his ally Supdo, but neither Terran player is really adequately producing SCVs. Elusive Smoke throwing up additional gates. Blink is finally on the way, as is +2. A little bit of harassment here though for Mingus, as Elusive Smoke might actually lose this, as he only had 1 pylon to overcharge, and he doesn't actually get his other overcharge off. But the Cyclone goes down. And if we look at the units lost, the Terran players have done a pretty good job harassing this game. Elusive Smoke can't quite get it. Blink is about halfway done. His additional gates just finished. Savage Wood has teched into Spire, of course. Now Supdo has seen the Spire, so he has turrets at his bases. Now, it is interesting to note that this back base has 3 turrets, and this base only has 1. Supdo doesn't really have very much barracks production. You should add about 3 more barracks, as Savage Wood had some forces up front here, and he mismicros his Overseer a bit there, and all it takes is just having it click in the wrong direction for a split second, and it will get mowed down, as does the Changeling there. So Supdo clears out the scouting for Savage Wood. Savage Wood does have a Ling over here to check for the 3rd. Now, of course, this Ling will see the 3rd, whether it gets landed over or it gets made over there. Mingus would be well advised to just leave 1 tank sieged over here. This is a very powerful location, because it can pretty much cut off this whole choke. Blink is done here for Elusive Smoke. He started to pressure out on the map. One thing Protoss players really haven't yet gotten into the habit of doing is consistently adding gateways out whenever they do these aggressive forward pylons. Now, a lot of times if they're doing a super cutthroat 1 base build, they remember to do it, but Savage Wood has elected to take his 4th base right here as opposed to further up here. This can be tricky because oftentimes Terrans can push this low area with tanks. But with creep already out here, Savage Wood will see that coming. Those pushes are the absolute hardest to deal with when they surprise you and your base just starts getting shelled. A Marine tank push is going to come out here for Mingus, and a Marine tank push is also going to come out for Supdo. Changeling dies, and a Thor is out. 3rd base is also complete. So the red team is going to be aggressive here, but a Blink build is out for Elusive Smoke. Thankfully, Mingus had a turret and a depot out here, so they are aware of this. Supdo is going to push, but creep is already out here, so Savage Wood sees this, and Supdo has to be concerned, and suddenly the Muta Gauntlet is thrown as Savage Wood was massing units, keeping them hidden until the Terran players moved out. Elusive Smoke trying to do some Blink Micro here. He has to be careful. These Marines do a lot of damage. Ooh, and he accidentally moved commands after blinking out. Goes up a time warp here, and the mothership is going to go down, but he blinks away with some of his units, and suddenly Elusive Smoke is trying to defend, but he's floating quite a bit of money. This 3rd base isn't online yet. The siege tank siege in the great location here for Supdo. They're cutting Elusive Smoke off. The Thor and the Liberator arrive too. Savage Wood has pretty much gutted the base of Supdo though. He's preventing reinforcements, killing some Marines, and he's massing Ling Bane in his own base. Now Savage Wood flies away with mutas once Mingus runs over, so Savage Wood has stunted the reinforcements. He's going to come down here with Ling Bane as some of the tanks are sieged, but there's only 3. Offensive Blink comes out here, and there's not that much, as both of the reinforcements were cut off here from Savage Wood's mutas, and the 3rd base was delayed from Elusive Smoke, and the red team looks like they're going to leave here as Supdo leaves as the mutas fly back in, and the Out Now clan takes it. So just to review what happened, a big committed tank push occurred out in the middle of the map. A little counterattack happened that canceled the 3rd. The in-base 3rd was a little bit delayed. Remember, there were Lings out here and Overlords scouting around. And Terran players, especially when they go Marine tank like this, they want to get in a position where they have the tank sieged in an area that really chokes you off, especially on 2v2 maps with split bases. That way, anytime the ally tries to come and help his buddy, he gets shelled by tanks. And they want to have all of their production facilities, their factories, their starport, and their barracks rallied out, reinforcing their push. So whenever you come in with a decent chunk of mutas like this, I would say any more than probably 11 or 10 mutas would be significant, and whenever you have +1, it's even better. So 13 +1 mutas come in, and suddenly you're in a situation where, yeah, this base has 3 turrets, but the main only has 1, and it's in the mineral line. The 3rd isn't established yet because this is sort of a pretty committed 2-factory tank, and before you know it, you're losing workers severely, your mining is cut in half, you can't take your 3rd. And then when you start to lose add-ons, it gets to be in the situation where you're really screwed, because you can't spend your money from your barracks. You're really relying on the tech lab being there because Thors and tanks are so expensive that they're really the only thing that you're going to be able to make that can keep your money down if you don't have that many barracks. So once you have to divert all of your forces, the Marine tank push becomes gutted, and we can see that Elusive Smoke had a few Stalkers. Also note he had +3 attack, and Savagewood was making a ton of Ling Bane at home while he was harassing with Mutas. And once the Mutas kill all the add-ons, it pretty much prevents any production from occurring, because what you're going to do, build Hellions and Widow Mines one at a time, and then three Marines. It just doesn't really work. And this is another thing, whenever you commit a lot to this early push, you also sacrifice upgrades a lot of the time. So we see one eBay here. Both of these players did pretty hard committal, 3 racks, 1 factory, sort of strong 2 base pushes with a delayed 3rd. Remember, one of them also went Banshee behind it. But the creep at this front door meant that Savagewood wasn't just able to be pummeled from this low ground. So if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more and follow my stream.